Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Mindful Monday. If it's your first time joining us, feel free to type in the comments where you're coming from. If you have any questions, you can also DM me any questions. And or if there's anything you'd like to hear covered in an upcoming topic, you're welcome to either put that in the comments as well or DM me. Also, if you write mindful in the comments, you will find a link that I will put there afterwards that will direct you to get a free hypnotic programming and also our Mindful Monday cheat sheets, which are weekly newsletters that kind of have a printout of what we cover in each session. And so today we're here to talk about how to use NLP to reframe our thoughts. So the reason why I went backwards, because we've been doing a bunch of NLP techniques, is a few of you all reached out and we're like, well, what's the difference between NLP and hypnosis? So I was like, oh, well, let's take a step backwards and kind of talk about this. So NLP stands for Neurolinguistic Programming, and it is an approach to communication, personal development, and even psychotherapy that was developed in the 1970s by Dr. Richard Bandler and John Grinder. And they decided basically, in a nutshell, rather than, everybody had been studying so long, problem states and, oh, well, how do we make this problem state better? So they decided to study people who were experts in different situations rather than studying the problem kind of thing. And they came up with certain premises known as NLP presuppositions. And sometimes there's I'm going to list about 10 of them today. Some people list 14, some people list 16. They're reworded quite often. And sometimes they're combined. But the point is, they're ways of thinking. It's a curious approach to thought processes that can help us all to reframe our minds. So NLP is not hypnosis, but many hypnotherapists, especially that I know, do incorporate NLP in. NLP can be used, though, in a kind of more waking state. So salespeople use NLP, commercials use NLP. So it can be a very useful technique. Of course, we want to be using it ethically when we're using it in hypnosis or aiding people. So today we're going to talk kind of about those 10 approaches. As I said, 10 to 16, give or take a few. So I'm listing the 10 that my friend and colleague Karen Hand, who I adore, put in her book, Trance Dance. And she lives up in Chicago. She's a hypnotherapist, an author, a speaker, an amazing woman. So the first one that I want to talk about is there is no failure, only feedback. And so this was an outstanding revelation to myself personally, because I used to think, oh my God, I can't fail. But failure is a part of progress. So if you think of it as it's feedback, it's an opportunity to learn and grow, to move on to do the thing you wanted to do better, then that's a lot more useful. So the next one is we are always communicating, or in all ways communicating. And so that is, we're communicating with people with our body, with our eyes. So there's the nonverbal cues as well, which actually account for much more of communication than actually our speech does. And the second part to that is that the meaning of communication is the response we get. So basically, whatever I'm receiving back, if people understood it, then I'm getting back what I wanted to. So how I communicate has to be understood in order to be an effective communication. Number 3 is going to be, if something isn't working, do something else. So most of us have heard that definition of insanity being doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if you find that something isn't working, then take another approach, basically. The next one is the one with the most flexibility of thought or actions in the room is the one who has the most control or power of the room. So if you've ever been in a room where somebody's getting really anxious or somebody's getting really angry, they may make you feel uncomfortable, or you may allow them, I should say, to make you feel uncomfortable or whatever. But the person who is the most calm, cool, and collected in that room is the one who really has the control, the flexibility to control the power in the room. Because if you're just blowing off the handle and screaming and stuff like that, you're not really in control at all. And if you're anxious and fidgety, or if you're not paying attention, so the person who is calm, cool, collected, taking it all in has the most control there. The next one will be choice is better than no choice. And people always make the best choice available to them at any given time. And so it may not always look like that from the outside view, but a person is always going to choose the best thing that they can at the given time. So using the resources available to them at that time, because we all want to do and be better. The next one is every behavior is useful in some context. So in a previous discussion we had here on Mindful Mondays about when we do parts therapy and hypnosis, there are parts that are helping us to kind of do things that might not be so useful, but these parts have an agenda or the goal of doing something useful. So basically all behavior is useful in some context. The next one is the map is not the territory. People respond to their view of reality rather than reality itself. So an NLP mapping is kind of the way you view the world, and it's interesting. And so, and then there's different parts that some people view it in a more visual, more auditory, or more kinesthetic way as well. So there's ways to kind of map across those things using these techniques. And moving on to number 8, there is a solution to every problem. Experience has structure, and anything can be accomplished if broken down into smaller pieces. So this is what in NLP is known as chunking up or chunking down. So if you have a huge, shall we say, issue or problem, and you're just like, oh my goodness, I can't handle that, then NLP will teach you to, break it down into very small steps, like little tiny pieces, until those steps are accomplished. So that's chunking down to chunk up kind of thing. And it's very useful. I use that a lot myself. Number 9 is each person is unique, yet everyone has most of the resources they need for change within them. So NLP, a lot of the different hypnosis, basically the breath work I do, we all feel that you have everything you need kind of within you, the resources that is. You might need a few, like a helping hand or a guide on the outside, but you really have a lot of your own answers and a lot of your own information and everything else that you kind of need in there. You might just need a little helping hand or something like that, maybe a tool or a technique to be more useful. And then finally, number 10, and this kind of goes hand in hand with that one, is people are not broken and thus they do not need to be fixed. So everyone is functional, everyone is a divine being, and so there's no need to fix them. People might need, like I said, a technique, a tool, a little guidance, or a helping hand here and there, but they have their resources and they're certainly not broken. So that's kind of the general outline of course, there are so many different NLP techniques, and there's so many different definitions. There's even different lists of the presuppositions, but I wanted to kind of talk about it in a little bit more simplistic way because a couple of y'all have reached out and had asked some questions about it. So hope you have a wonderful Mindful Monday, and see you soon.